There's been many NBA players struggling this season. A lot of great players. Damian Lillard has struggled. Jason Tatum has struggled. The list goes on. Darren Fox. But another guy who's definitely struggled this season and is a guy that had a lot of hype and expectation coming into the next season. A guy who came off a career year last season was, of course, Michael Porter Jr. And Michael Porter Jr. this season has definitely not been playing to the level that he was supposed to be playing at. Looking at his numbers, he's averaging right just at 10 points a game. He's shooting around 35% from the field. Not only that, but he has a true shooting percentage of 41.4%. That ranks 150 out of the 155 players averaging 25 plus minutes per game this season. About 55% from the free throw line. He shot 20% this season from the three-point line, and his overall field goal percentage is 35%. This guy has been struggling the entire season, and all of these numbers are career lows. And Michael Porter Jr., for his first few seasons in the NBA, he was known for his efficiency. This dude was shooting over 50% from the field. Last season, he shot 54% from the field and played, of course, even more minutes and had more production. But this season, he's once again back on the low end of the stick. And not only that, but he just recently got hurt and having another back injury, something that has plagued him throughout his entire career, more so, of course, when he got into college, especially. And now he's out again with back injury, and he could be out, according to Coach Mike Malone, for the foreseeable future. And for this Denver Nuggets team, a team that is definitely on the verge of really legitimately being a championship caliber team, this team losing out on another guy like him is really bad. This is not going to be a benefit for them. They have a lot of depth. They're a really deep roster, and they've gone all in on this team this season. And now seeing that Michael Porter Jr. is hurt, it's not a good thing. And we don't know when he's going to come back. Obviously, we don't know when the time could be. And looking, at this team, they're going to have to really try a lot harder now. They have, of course, Nikola Jokic. Will Barton had a really good game last night. They have a really deep still roster of good players, but without their primary core guys, Michael Porter Jr., he's gone now, and of course Jamal Murray won't be back really anytime soon right now. This is not a good thing for the Denver Nuggets, and Nikola Jokic is definitely going to play even harder now because of that. Michael Porter Jr., he's been going through this injury thing for a long time, and the NBA community, fans, everybody in general, has been behind this guy's back for a very long time and defending him and knowing that he can be that star level player. And he showed that last season that he has that potential. And that coming into this season, of course, the hype was all around him being that guy who was going to finally step up and be one of the Nuggets' best players, because, the Nuggets really took good care of this guy from day one once they drafted him. They rehabbed him. They did everything in their possible manner to help this guy. And looking at his family, his family has also suffered from injuries throughout their NBA career, their professional careers, even his dad as well, and his mother. And now, this same thing is happening to Michael Porter Jr. And for Michael Porter Jr., I believe that, if these injuries continue to just come, then really his career might be sooner gone than you think. This guy, he's already suffered from, a catastrophic back injury. He's had multiple surgeries, and now another problem again. Yes, it is a step back into a better direction, but this problem is continuously happening over and over again. And of course, we can't control these things when they happen. Injuries come. But for him to have these same injuries over and over again, it could be eventually to a point where it could possibly ruin his career. He may not really come out still being the same player. And I believe still that to this day, he's not really the same player that he used to be. And looking at him now, he's played a lot of games through his basketball career in high school. He was on one of the best teams in the country. He played AAU. He's one of the best players in there. He was a McDonald's All-American. This guy's accomplished so many things. And, really, if he was fully healthy, he would have been possibly the number one pick in the NBA draft. But sadly, of course, injuries and all those things ruined that as well. But, he was lucky enough to get drafted into a great situation in the Denver Nuggets, where they were already a pretty good team, and all they needed to him to do was just develop and work on his game. And that's what he's really done over these last few years. And now we're finally starting to see him really blossom into that player that he should be. But, this season, it's definitely not been a good year for him. When you look at his numbers across the field and everything, I feel like it's, You know, maybe he could have been battling from this injury the whole time and we may not have known it. But, you know, even the other night when he did play and he missed that wide open dunk in the middle of the game, you know, that was really something to see as well. And of course, then he injured himself. And he just hasn't been the same player. He hasn't really been attacking the rim as much, even though he's been shooting very inefficient from the perimeter. He's just mostly stuck out and shooting perimeter shots. He hasn't really gone into the paint and really attacked like that. 9.3% of his shots have come through the paint, which is actually a career low. Look at his shooting. As I said earlier, he's been struggling with that. You know, last season on catch and shoot shots, he shot 4.7 attempts per game and he shot over 46%. But this season, he's shooting 3.1 attempts per game, but he's averaging 27.3%. But when you look at, of course, all the areas, his free throw percentage, that's another really big concern because your free throw percentage shows, you know, your efficiency overall as a player, as a shooter especially, and his numbers are low. He shot, of course, as I said earlier, 55% from the line. You know, this season has just not really been a great start for Michael Porter Jr. As well, that, you know, the NBA got a new basketball, and that was another really big problem for some players adjusting to this new ball. But of course, you know, we all know about the new rules and how the NBA is now with their foul system, which I believe is really, of course, good for the game. You know, it's really good for the game. And looking at Michael Porter Jr. though, now he's out, of course, and he's not really gonna be back anytime soon. And I feel like, you know, he could have gotten, you know, he maybe have gotten better throughout the season, continued, you know, with his inefficiency and play. He could have gotten a lot better. But now this is another step back for him. This guy's going through so many step backs. And, you know, you really do want the best for guys like him because this guy, you know, like at his best, you know, he can be like a Kevin Durant level type player with his size and what his ability and what all he can do in this game. But him continuously going through all these injuries, man, you just feel for the guy. Because all we want to do is see him play the absolute best brand of basketball possible and to really help this Denver Nuggets team reach new levels. Overall, man, I just really feel for this guy because injuries has definitely kind of are ruining his career right now. He can't have a break, and last season he showed finally that promise, but once again, it's just another step back for him. And, you know, all we want to do is see him be a great player, that the guy that we knew he could possibly be, even getting drafted 14th overall, especially late in the lottery. But the only thing we can do now is wish him the best recovery and come back on this Denver Nuggets team fully motivated and ready to play, and hopefully, of course, a much more efficient player when he does come back. But hopefully it's not a catastrophic injury as well, when we know how long he's going to be out for. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more basketball content each and every single week. Have a good day. Peace.